Welcome back for our second race tonight here in the Scientist vs Grid League in the Einstein League around Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium at the iconic track where last weekend's race should have been held, but the FIA decided to fuck the fans over and just do a two-lap race behind the safety car, which we won't do tonight, regardless of the weather. We have 13 men going at it on track. As you can see, the sun's out here at Belgium, and we're about to witness an almost, or maybe equal as epic race as we had at Brazil a few minutes ago, with some rain at the end and instant racer out of the top 5, the only one deciding to switch to Inters within the last 2 laps after a safety car restart, overtaking almost everyone. Well, he overtook everyone, but because of a 3-second time penalty, he didn't end up in P1. On track he did, but because of his penalty, he finished P2 at Brazil. Jaden won that race, and our grid is formed out of last race results, which means Corleone, our last finisher in P10 at Brazil, will start on pole position here at Spa, followed by Eskimo, Moshe, Gore, Jordan starting in P5, Takuya behind him, both Alpines in Rob and Walter being P7 and 8. Instant Racer, who finished P2 because of penalties at Brazil, will start in P9, and Jaden, our race winner, will start in P10. You Funny Bot, Casto and Chappie DNF'd from last race. That means they will start at the back, and we already have 3 disqualifications from the formation lap in Durlan, Decunia and Rob, which means ultimately that they will start on their grid position. Nothing changes regarding that, but of course their tires will be absolutely cold. So everyone behind will to be Instant Jaden, You Funny Bot, Caston Chappie will have a huge advantage into the first corner and also through Eau Rouge. And if you have cold tires going through Eau Rouge around 60 to 70 degrees, then you will pretty soon realize that you have a big issue. You'll have to lift, you'll have to be very careful, otherwise you're going straight into the wall and DNF or get huge damage to your car, which nobody wants. As you can see, we already have the full track map on, so you can follow your favorite driver around Spa, especially when it comes to pit stops. You can see where your favorite driver is, and if he gets his position back, loses our position, or maybe gets the lead of the race. We also take a close look at telemetry to follow the ERS percentage, and we also have a closer look at position changes, pit stops of course, and tire choice. And as you can see, your Funny Bot is the only one who decided to start on mediums. I'm a little bit surprised that he's the only one, especially at the back, who's starting on mediums, because with everyone starting on softs, you don't have a significant advantage regarding strategy during the race. I think we also have to take a look at penalties, especially at the end of the race, to see if there are any position changes. But right now, as we know that only your Funny Bot is on mediums, we just take a look at position changes. Coming up now, the boys are going onto the correct grid position, and in a few moments the 5 red lights will be on, and they're going to start here at Spa-Francorchamps. 5 red lights are out right now. The problem is it takes a few moments, and this moment has come right now. Eskimo in P2 already on the back foot. Both Ferraris took him. There's a little sandwich situation. Eskimo fighting hard for that position, spinning almost out of the race. Very hard battle there. Giving back as he gets to Cunha P4 in front of his teammate, going through Eau Rouge and Rodion. Luckily, no one spun here. Jordan in P13 losing 8 positions at the start. But we have a lot of battles here going on. Eskimo staying behind his teammate Decunha. Corleone is still in P1, but what a start by both Ferraris, especially Moshe, who's up to P2 already. Rob up to P3, although he was disqualified from the formation up, which means he has cold tyres, but what a phenomenal start by him. And Yo and Walter be overtaking Eskimo now in Sector 2. A little bit out of shape, as you can see. Has to defend himself, losing positions to Instant Race and Jay, and he has to keep his head down. And he's letting them all go to resettle and attack them on the next lap, on lap 2. Nothing's lost here, of course. You're losing some positions, but ultimately you can get them back, so keep your head up. Go for it. Corleone still in P1. We got yellow flags in Sector 3. It's Chappie and Castro. They're both out of the race. We have a virtual safety car. So that is very, very tragic for both guys, because they already DNF'd from Brazil's race. So another DNF for both of them, especially for Castro, who's up there in the championship, losing a lot of places maybe because of that. We only have 2 guys in the pits, Yo and Eskimo, going into the pits. Both started on softs. Let's see what they're doing. Eskimo switching to mediums, as we could see there. And Yo is also going to mediums. Wing change for both guys. So maybe that was the reason for Eskimo being a little bit slower and letting everyone by. And the virtual safety car has ended, which means the race will resume. And Moshe just spins out of there. Maybe touching the curb on the inside a little bit too much. Losing a lot of positions here. Going down from P2 to P8 right now. Durden close behind him. Seems like he can't get him for now, but very, very unfortunate for him. Going from P2 to P8. Rob now in P2. And coming back to position change, as you can see. A lot of changes here. Rob gaining 5. Decunha 3. The 4 guys behind gaining 4 positions each. Moshe down 5, Durden down 4, Yo and Eskimo down 6 and 9 positions. But Yo and Eskimo both have pitted on the virtual safety car. And we have Rob in the wall. Rob just decided to put his car in the wall, lose his front wing, or maybe just the right part of it, but that was a heavy impact. Rob will probably pit right now, because that damage is very, very nasty here on Spa, and he's coming into the pits, which means Decunha is going up to P2. And as you can see, it's very, very easy to get damage around here at Spa. You have to be on your toes every time, very, very focused. It's not Monaco, the walls are not everywhere, but if you lose it, you lose it. So you have to be very, very careful. Rob still in the pits, down to P9 for the moment. He will stay in P9, I think, because the 2 guys behind him already have pitted. A very big gap between those guys. No penalties right now. Coming back to the tyres right now because of some pit stops. A little bit has changed. Your funny bot still on his mediums. And now Rob, Yo and Eskimo also on fresh mediums after the pit stops. Everyone else, of course, still on the soft tyre. No penalties right now. So we take a look at the delta, and you can see that Decunha is around 3.5 seconds behind Corleone right now. Walter B 2.7. Instagracer and Jaden pressurizing Walter here in Sector 2. That's the closest battle right now on track. Everyone else has a few seconds of gaps between each other, between themselves. Instant Racer and Jaden, the only 2 guys who are pressurizing Walter B, and of course we will have DRS on this lap, and of course on the next lap too. So let's see what happens on the long Camel Straight. where DRS is very, very powerful. Takuya, the fastest lap, a 144.8. He's suddenly closing that gap to Corleone. 44.3. Oh! For an overtake against Walterby, which seemed very, very aggressive on the inside, clipping Walterby's rear end, which means Jaden is waving at both of them, gets P3 and just laughs about that situation right now. Walterby P5, instant racing down to P7. That was very, very unfortunate. And I'm sure for both of these guys, very unnecessary, because they've been there in the top 5. Now Walterby is only P5 and instant race at P7. Not what they've hoped for, but it is what it is for the moment. Takuya 2.7 behind Corleone. He's trying to close that gap from corner to corner. 2.5, 2.4. He's coming. Big steps. Trying to pressurize Corleone to get him here. Let's see if Corleone's wing is still intact, or if he maybe has clipped the wall somewhere, but it seems like that wing is looking good. So seemingly no damage. 2.5 the gap to Takuya, down to 2.3 now as Takuya is using ERS. Playing some mind games here on Corleone on the gaps, which is very, very helpful sometimes. Just to let the other guy panic a little bit, and we are down to 2 seconds flat. So Takuya with some great pace here. Corleone with 50% ERS. Takuya with 73. Walterby and Instant Racer both in the pits now. Let's see if they have damage to their cars. Walterby coming in, no wing change for him. Let's see what Instant Race is doing, but I think there's already wing repaired. Yep, he gets his wing repaired, which means he loses another 5 seconds here in the pits, going down to P10, maybe also P11 as Eskimo is crossing the line and overtaking Instant Racers in the pits now. And unfortunately, I'm very sorry, we lost what happened to Corleone. He's no longer P1, he's down to P4, as he maybe has lost his car at the end of Camel Straight. Maybe Takuya was close enough to overtake him, and maybe they collided. I have no freaking idea, unfortunately. But as a matter of fact, Corleone down to P4, Takuya P1, Jaden P2, and your funny boy P3. And Jaden is 2 seconds behind Takuya, so no DRS for him, which is a great opportunity for Takuya and his Aston Martin to dictate the pace and to dictate the strategy here on lap 5 around Spa-Francorchamps. But Jaden is closing that gap already. 1.8 seconds Takuya using some ERS to stay ahead of Jaden, ahead of that DRS window. Let's see if he comes into the pits now. Yeah, Takuya's coming into the pits, doing the virtual undercut on Jaden, so he has no chance. Jaden could have potentially covered the strategy, but he's staying out on another lap on these softs. Maybe he feels that they work very, very good for him right now. Takuya, the first and only one out of that top 5 pack who has pitted now. Let's see where he comes out. He comes out in P6, ahead of Rob and behind Gurdon, so he has kind of clean air ahead of him. 3 seconds ahead of him, clean air, and Walter is 2 seconds behind. So 2 seconds behind, so no threat from behind. And Takuya has clean air to make these mediums work and to stay ahead of Jaden, who needs a brilliant brilliant in-lap to his pit stop to make these softs work for one final lap. And he's attacking these corners, as you can see, very, very quick around, and the gap between him and Euphonybot is growing and growing as he pushes very, very hard on this lap. But he's up to 98% of ERS. He's just pushing his car around these corners, and now he's using ERS on the straights, but not enough, just a little bit. Maybe he thinks it's enough, or maybe he just wants to get as close to D'Cunha so he's in his DRS. Let's see what will happen. But D'Cunha is the guy to watch right now in P6. He was the leader before his pit stop as Jaden is coming in now. D'Cunha into Blanchimont now. Coming up to the bus stop chicane. He has to nail that lap to stay ahead of Jaden. So the front four are pitting. Jaden now in his pit box. D'Cunha now on the pit straight. So he has to push now. He has to get everything in to stay ahead of Jaden. And he will stay ahead of Jaden, I think. Oh, it's very close. It's very close. Oh, D'Cunha with the overspeed, but he's behind Jaden. But he will get the DRS on him on the camel straight. Let's see what this will be about. Very close. Oh my god. He's going for it, side by side, up the hill, camel straight, DRS for D'Cunha, overtaking Jaden up to P1 again for him, and we have a proper fight for the lead here at Spa-Francorchamps between D'Cunha and Jaden, and as you can see, Jaden closed that gap right now by 1.5 seconds to D'Cunha while staying out, so the overcut for D'Cunha has worked. Yellow flag, sector 1. It's Durdan who's now returning to track and continuing, so we have no safety car. D'Cunha only 2.5 tenths ahead of Jaden. Rob 2.8 in P3 behind Jaden. Ufunnybot 2.3 behind Rob. Walterby only 1 second behind Ufunnybot, so the field, the pack has come a little bit closer. And we have yellow flags in sector 2. Yellow flag sector 2, it's Walterby. Walterby is going down. He's losing positions down to P8 now. Only he knows what happened here. Unfortunately, we didn't see it. And we have Corleone also spinning, and he has damage to his car. The left side of his front wing is damaged. He's down to P10. King Eskimo smiling, going ahead. P9 for him. And we have another yellow flags for Durdan. There's no wing left. D'Cunha back to the leader. Still in P1, 2.5 tenths ahead of Jaden on lap 8. Jaden will of course get the DRS on the main straight. If they can work together, then they will have a battle for the lead just between them two. If they fight it too hard, they're losing time, and Rob can gain that time back to have a proper fight here with 3 cars. But right now it seems like they're kind of working together, just letting the other one go on the camel straight, because the real fight will be starting around lap 10, lap 11, not on lap 8. If you can just stay within DRS range behind the other car, you've got a huge advantage. But Jaden is pushing very hard, and he's already out of the DRS. D'Cunha 1.2 behind now. Rob is closing the gap, 2.5 only behind D'Cunha. Let's see what penalty he has. He has a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner, or just in general for multiple warnings, of course. But he's under pressure by Ufunnybot. He's up to P4 now, and he's very close behind Rob. Oh my god, that's very close. He's pushing him through the corners here. It's and Rob into the wall. Heavy crash from Rob at the outside of that corner, running over the curb on the exit, into the wall, damage to his wing on the left side. 3 seconds for Eskimo in the meantime. Oh my god, that was a heavy impact, and Rob has to slow that car down. He's probably pitting now, I think. Yeah, he's going into the pits. He has to be very careful not to crash his car again here. Ufunnybot P3 now, Yo P5 overtaking Rob in the pits. Let's see where Rob will come now. D'Cunha 2.7 already behind Jaden, who's pushing very, very hard. Probably going for a fastest lap here. He's going around Spa very, very quick. What a performance. Eskimo also overtaking Rob while he's in the pits, coming out of his pit box right now. And Walterby about to overtake his teammate. Let's see where they come up. Walterby and Rob probably very, very close together. As we can see, Rob is staying ahead of Walterby, but within DRS range, as they're both teammates. there shouldn't be any problems between both of them. Of course, Rob now on softs, and also on mediums, overtaking Rob right now. 3-second time penalty for D'Cunha, which is crucial because he's losing P2 to you Funnybot with that penalty. Now he has to hope for himself getting around that track penalty free. Besides that 3 seconds to stay ahead of Yor, who's 7 seconds behind D'Cunha. But let's see what your Funnybot is doing. He's closing that gap rapidly. Right now in P3, attacking D'Cunha within DRS range right now. Let's see what happens on the counter straight. Jaden having a very smooth race right now, 4 seconds ahead of D'Cunha at the moment. You Funnybot just within DRS range. He tries to come a little bit closer to the slipstream with the use of DRS to attack D'Cunha on the main straight. D'Cunha with 60% ERS left. You Funnybot almost down. He's down to 10% now. So let's see which is more powerful, the ERS or just pure DRS without the help of ERS. Let's see who's winning that battle. D'Cunha trying to break the slipstream. It seems like he's staying ahead of your Funnybot for the moment on lap 10. But of course the penalty will shoot him in the foot. Rob now very close behind the Walter B again. It's a switcheroo between these two. On the Camel straight, Rob will probably overtake Walter. We have to take an exotic line here, otherwise he would have probably lost his car. Rob overtaking his teammate on the Frosher compound and also on the softer compound fastest. Sector 1 for Rob at the moment, and you Funnybot still very, very close behind D'Cunha here in Sector 2 at Spa. Only 3.5 tenths of a second behind D'Cunha in P4. You're losing time to these two, which is a good sign for D'Cunha. So he will stay in P3 with no spectacular what happens to him. You Funnybot trying to prepare the exits to get a run on D'Cunha, who's still in P2. And you Funnybot very close behind him, following his line, going through Eau Rouge now and Radion, both now 5 seconds behind Jaden. And let's see if he's close enough now. He will have DRS of course, but D'Cunha unleashing the ERS, close side by side, going into the next corner, and D'Cunha spun. He's held his car on the inside here against you Funnybot, lost it and spun around. Of course no damage to his car, but now Yor is 1.4 seconds behind him, and that's not what you want to if you're D'Cunha, because with that 3-second time penalty Yor will get him and D'Cunha will lose the podium. So very, very unfortunate. Tactically perhaps not the best solution to go side by side into that corner, especially on the inside. If you hit that curb, you go round. It's like a law. You just go round if you hit that inside curb, and Yor is now trying to attack D'Cunha here. He has 30% of ERS left. D'Cunha 55. Let's see if he gets a run on him. And let's not hope for something bad. Just bring it over the line, boys. Yor doesn't have to overtake D'Cunha as he has a penalty, but you never know. These boys want to decide it on track, which is very, very good. I respect that a lot, but you don't have to take any unnecessary risks. And unfortunately, D'Cunha took a risk. Jaden is winning that race with a gap of 6.5 seconds to your Funnybot. Yor finishing in P3, D'Cunha P4, Instant Racer finishing in P5, Mosha P6, Rob P7, Eskimo coming up to P8 after Walterby maybe has spun, because he was very, very close with Rob all the time, and now he's down to P9. Corleone in P10 right now, coming through the bus stop chicane onto the main straight, finishing in P10 in his Merc, and Durdan, the only guy still out on track, in P11 in his Williams in the last sector right now. Going around that last corner onto the long straights, including Blanchiment, where he's coming through right now up to the bus stop chicane. And he will finish that race in a few seconds. In P11 for Williams here at Spa Francorchamps. Let's see who our driver today from Colt Masters will be. It's Euphonybot who finishes in P2. Of course, you can vote for your driver of the day if you are on the Discord server of the Scientist Reverse Grid League. You have the chance to vote for your driver of the day besides the Colt Masters driver of the day, which means you can vote for anyone you think was your driver of the day, and he will get, or not he, the one with the most votes will get an extra point in the championship standings for getting your driver of the day. So feel free to vote after you watch the stream or after you watch the results. Everyone has the right to vote, so make use of that if you wish to. So Jaden and Euphonybot fighting for that driver of the day, as they both made up 10, or no, it's not 10, sorry, it's 9 positions for each. Jaden also with the fastest lap, which will give him an extra point. So Jaden winning that race in front of Euphonybot, and Yor in P3, D'Cunha P4, Instant Racer P5, Moshe P6, Rob in the Alpine finishing in P7, Eskimo collecting a few points for Aston Martin here in P8, his teammate, Rob's teammate Walterby in the other Alpine in P9, Corleone finishing P10, and Durdan, our last finisher here, in P11. Casto and Chappie both DNF from the race, which means they will get no points, of course. And with that, our stream for the night in the Einstein League of the Scientists Reverse Grid League ends. And I want to thank you very much for joining, for tuning in. I wish you a very nice weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see and hear from each other next week, next Friday, when we have again 2 races here in the Einstein League in the Scientist Reverse Grid League. Have a nice weekend. Take care.